Yes, it is Friday. It is Friday, not just any Friday, a Friday before a long weekend, a Friday before Labor Day weekend, which some would say is like prime drafting weekend. And that is true. I got a lot of drafts coming up this weekend. But before we get into the drafts, before we get into football, we still have a 14-game baseball slate to get to tonight starting at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. And there's two studly men who are going to get you set for that slate. Steve Buchanan, as always, my man, the handsome Matt LaMarca, will be driving you through this slate, getting you ready for all the DFS action, all the betting action you can take, and of course, answering all your questions. Drop them in the YouTube chat, drop them in Twitch. We will get to them as the show goes on. But first and foremost, let's get the pleasantries out of the way. Sir, how are you?
I'm wonderful. This is it's actually my birthday.
Whoa!
Just throwing that out there.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I started my day with a wonderful trip to the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Oh boy. Okay.
And now I'm working with Steve Buchanan. So literally two of life's great joys on my birthday.
So you can say that one of two ways. Great joys or two hellholes that you have to endure on the same day, working with myself and going to the DMV. So I appreciate everything that you've gone through today. I appreciate everything you are going to go through for the next hour. But let's get right into tonight's slate. Shout out to the Guru 805. Somehow I'm watching. We are glad you're here. Queenie, what up, girl? Glad you're in the chat. I got to get something right off my chest that I was disgusted and appalled about. Did you ever predict that on September 3rd, 2021, Adam freaking Wainwright would be the most expensive pitcher on a DFS slate at 10K? Did you ever? Mm-hmm.
I did not expect it in the year of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Shout out to that guy because he's been pitching great, man. I won't use him. I'm not going to pay 10K for him, but like it's one of those things where you just gotta tip your cap to the man for getting the job done at such an advanced age.
5 starts in the month of August, 4 earned runs allowed. Nasty, absolutely nasty stuff. But I mean, look at the quality of opponents that we have.
A lot of Pittsburgh on there.
A lot of Pittsburgh. Brewers, who he's facing tonight. Kansas City. But one thing that sticks out to me, that start against the Brewers probably should have been a lot worse. 6 innings pitched, 9 hits allowed, only 2 runs. Come on. Like that probably got a little bit of lucky there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for sure. And they stand out as the clear, top offensive team, although they're far from a juggernaut, but
right.
The amount of hits that he gave out, you would expect a little bit worse than 2 runs over 6 innings. I think we're on the same page, right? Like it's not a night where you're going to consider playing Wainwright.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the pitcher that is going on the other side in Freddie Peralta. Like that just takes a lot of the win expectation away from Wainwright. Right. He's not a strikeout pitcher, so he needs to keep the opponent off the board and pick up a W. And he's a plus 155 underdog right now. So I don't really see this as a spot to play him.
And real quick, in that last start against the Brewers, he had a 3.33 FIP, which is good. Batting average balls in play, 409 in that start. That was the highest mark of the season that he's had. And that start against the Brewers. So something to think about there. I like Peralta. I'm never a huge fan of taking guys coming off of the injured list. I know Peralta wasn't on there for an extreme amount of time. It was a pretty short stint for him on there. Should go his normal routine, really shouldn't be held back or anything like that. That might have been more about just getting him some rest, which seems to be a common theme heading around baseball. The White Sox are doing that very clearly, very obviously. All of their starters all of a sudden hurt, getting some extra rest. Yes, we do need the Yankees to do it. We absolutely need the Yankees to do that. You know what? I'm a Red Sox fan. I will concede if you want to put Garrett Cole on the injured list to rest. I will happily concede if that's the case. Holder of a Robbie Ray 80-1 Cy Young ticket. Get Cole some rest. That, you know what? That's going to be my new campaign. Get Cole some rest. He needs it. He's been laboring this season. He needs some rest. So Freddie Peralta, fine option tonight going against the Cardinals. Has had some good success against them in 2 starts already. 9 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. He is great. He's a really good source for strikeouts here, as you can see on the season. 121 in a third innings pitched, 164 strikeouts. He is a strikeout machine, and I wouldn't say exactly that the Cardinals offense is exactly slamming the doors on opposing pitchers. What are your thoughts though about ignoring basically the 4 most expensive guys on this slate and just going down from there? Say, we do like Peralta, that's fine. But Shohei Ohtani at 8,700 is a joke going up against the Rangers. I mean, it's remarkable that he's still this cheap. I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who should be the most expensive guy on the slate, probably Ohtani. If I had a guess, if I had a say in this, I don't have a say in this. So I'll happily take the $1,300 saving. I don't. Yep. Contrary to popular belief. I will happily take the $1,300 savings on Ohtani tonight over someone like Adam Wainwright against a Rangers team that he's made 2 starts against and has a 13.4 K9 Matt LaMarca against. This to me
pretty good.
Is a no-brainer. It's not going to be sneaky. He's going to be chalky, but what the hell? I'll take the chalk on Ohtani. You kidding me?
Yeah, for my money, I still think Peralta is the best pitching option on the slate. I get that you might have some concerns. Maybe he's limited to 6 innings or so tonight. But I love the strikeout upside with him. I mean, he's averaging over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings this year, and that's like a career low for him.
Right.
The guy just whiffs dudes, and Ohtani is good too. He's not quite the same pitcher as Peralta. He's very good. He's not a Cy Young caliber pitcher. He does have the second lowest opponent implied team total on the slate. Peralta's at 3.3. Ohtani's at 3.4. Ohtani is a larger favorite, so he does have that working in his favor. But I think when I look at these price tags, both guys are underpriced, and I think playing both together in cash games is the default. That should be your default strategy. For tournaments, I would give the edge to Peralta just because I think, like you've been stating, that Ohtani is going to be the higher owned of the two. Yeah. And I think that Peralta has the higher ceiling.
So here's my pushback on that. The biggest blemish, there's been 2 blemishes for Ohtani when he takes the mound. One has been walks. That has been very overstated. That has been a huge issue for him when he takes the mound. The other one has been lefties. Left-handed bats have hit him a lot harder than right-handed bats. The Rangers lineup tonight has 7 righties, and they don't walk a lot. So I look at those 2 things, and we're basically taking away the 2 things that really affect Ohtani the most: lefties and walks. Only 2 lefties in this lineup. One of them is Lourdes Tavares batting in the leadoff spot. The second one is Nate Lau batting 5th. Other than that, all righties after that, all righties. And you look at the numbers that Ohtani has against righties, a 2.03 FIP against righties, 35.4% K rate against righties. Only a 3.1 walks per 9 innings. He's good against righties. Now he's facing a very right-handed heavy lineup tonight. That's where I feel better about Ohtani. A little bit cheaper, but like I said, he's going to be the chalkier option. I know you do like Peralta. I have no problem using both. If you do want to use both, we'll throw Ohtani in the lineup. We'll throw Peralta in the lineup. That still leaves you with an average of 4K for the rest of your hitters. Extremely doable. Because what do we do right off the bat?
When you punt the catcher, Steve.
You punt the damn catcher. I don't give a crap about the catcher.
Only took me a whole season, but I caught on to the bit.
You caught on to the bit. Punt the catcher. We don't care. Austin Hedges, sure, he sounds like a nice fellow. Just throw him in there. What the hell do we care? 4,200 for the rest of your lineup. First base through outfields. Love it. That's what we want to do. So I love it. Ohtani and Peralta. Those are the top two options in my eyes, in your eyes. We're in agreement.
Yes.
What about the rest of the field? Because after that, it feels like it gets ugly real fast. Fast, baby.
Real fast. Real quick. I have no problem targeting the Marlins offense. I feel like that's something that has worked for most of the season. So Kyle Gibson, he's 8,100. I think that's a pretty fair price tag for him in that matchup. Not the best pitcher in the world, right? He was clearly pitching over his head at the beginning of the season, but he's put up over 21 DraftKings points in his last two starts. I think he's fine at that price tag. And then you can delve into the depths of the sub 7K range, I think.
Oh boy.
Maybe you take a look at a Nestor Cortez. And I know that you love the Baltimore Orioles against left-handed pitching, but doesn't change the fact that Nestor is a minus 225 favorite.
Yep.
The Orioles have one of the lower implied team totals on the slate. And if you want to go even further down, maybe Rich Hill. I called Rich Hill bad chalk last week. He gave me roughly 20 DraftKings points in my face without a win. So, it's the same exact matchup for him. He's taking on the Nationals. He had 8 strikeouts in 5 innings in his last game. He's fine. I think that both Cortez and Hill are probably underpriced for this slate in particular. This is a pretty gross pitching slate. So being able to get either of those guys for sub 7K feels wrong.
I don't like Rich Hill. So I never play Rich Hill.
Sure.
If other people want to play Rich Hill, that's totally fine. So that's fine, but you will never find Rich Hill in any of my lineups. Quick question in the chat, the Guru 805. Thanks for joining. I know you don't like me too much, but I appreciate you watching. Who is the punt at catcher? I'd probably go with Tom Murphy from my Seattle Mariners, the team that still has a very good chance to win the AL West, Matt LaMarca. Only 6.5. Only 6.5 out. No problem. Still a month left. I'm not scared.
I agree with that. If you're looking to go real cheap at catcher, I think Tom Murphy is the preferred option.
Yeah, much better against lefties than he is righties. He's got solid numbers against lefties for a guy who's a punt play. 342 WOBA and 195 isolated power. That's not too bad from a guy who's 2,700. 121 WRC plus. That is not terrible at all. So there is your punt catcher. But truly, when it comes to catcher, we don't care about this position. So if they're under 3K, that's a good enough punt for me. Because at the end of the day, you are looking to get in the more talented power bats for the rest of the infield and outfield. Catcher, they just catch the ball.
I have 2 other catchers that I like.
Yeah, throw them out there.
They're not cheap.
All right. Is it Tyler Stevenson?
No. As much as I do love me some Tyler Stevenson, he is no longer free. He's 4,800.
Yeah, he's expensive.
Travis d'Arnaud, batting 5th at Coors, 4,200. That seems wrong.
Yep, that is cheap.
Alejandro Kirk, batting 6th against a lefty, 3,700.
Yep. Yeah, that's not bad. 3,700 is a little pricey. A little pricey for my take when it comes to the catcher position. But, there are some decent catcher bats. There's not many. I mean, I can't name a lot of them, but 3,700, that's doable. That's doable. I can get down with that.
All right.
Just looking at this though, and I'm glad you brought up Coors Field. As usual, it has one of the highest totals on the slate.
Yep.
How do you feel about the pitching on both sides though? Because we got 2 solid guys going tonight. Antonio Senzatella, Inoa going for the Braves. Both guys have been solid.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's interesting is that the total on this game has dropped from 12 to 11.
Yeah.
So this could be a lower scoring Coors game than most.
I think it will be.
I would much rather play Inoa. Nobody on the Rockies offense scares me, and the Braves are just tearing the cover off the ball.
Yep.
So I would much rather use Inoa than use Senzatella. I actually have no problem stacking against Senzatella, but
really, he's been good at home.
Senzatella's not good. I don't care what.
Oh, come on.
He's not good.
Come on.
Inoa is a pretty good pitcher, though. I still think, though, I'd rather take a flyer on the sub 7K pitchers, or is it time to buy back in?
On who?
To Jesus?
No.
Look at that last start, baby.
I know. And you know what he attributed to? He put his glasses back on. It was the first time this season, I guess.
Rick Vaughn, baby.
Yeah, that he put his glasses back on. It's like, okay, you dope. What if you've been pitching blind the entire season? Like, you would think like after like 2 starts, he's like, oh crap, I should probably put the glasses back on.
Now
like he waited until almost September to be like, I should put the glasses back on. So he puts the glasses back on, allows 1 hit to the Reds through 6 innings, strikes out 8. So now everybody's back on the Luzardo train. Listen, I am a big fan of Jesus Luzardo, not just because I have a mountain of his autographs and I want those to go up, but I am a huge fan of Jesus Luzardo because I think that the kid has talent. I'm just not convinced that 1 start against the Reds, who are kind of iffy against lefties to begin with, means that he's back. Because now he's facing the Phillies, who have scored 7 runs in 6 straight games. One of those games, they scored 12. Okay. So in 6 straight games, they scored at least 7 runs. That offense is on fire right now. So do you want to take Jesus Luzardo and his atrocious stats since joining the Marlins and be like, oh yeah, he's back. He's the one to silence this Phillies offense tonight.
Yeah, baby. I need stats on Fangraph.
Totally.
I need a splits tool on Fangraphs with and without glasses.
That's what we need.
This is great.
That's
maybe all the pitchers that the Phillies have roughed up lately just need to get their eyes examined.
Yeah. All like Jameis Winston, like they get LASIK surgery, like, oh crap, I can see, I can throw. Things actually go well now. I am not on Luzardo. I am on the Phillies. The Phillies over 4.5 runs tonight is at plus 105. Like, that's insane. That's just unbelievable value for a team that scored at least 7 runs in 6 straight games. And now they're facing a pitcher that, aside from last start, has been roughed up. Like, they could get the 4.5 runs off of Luzardo alone. Forget about getting to the bullpen. But I am 100% on Phillies over 4.5 runs. So if I'm on them over 4.5 runs, I am certainly not using the pitcher that they are going against.
That's a fair point.
That is a fair point. That is more than a fair point. That's just logic. That is what I would call that. So I am not on Luzardo. But right below him, Sean Manaea going against the Blue Jays. He's been getting roughed up, but this is probably the cheapest we've seen him in a while.
So you won't use a pitcher coming off a 30 DraftKings points performance against the Phillies, but you have no problem rolling with Manaea against the best offensive team in baseball.
Are they the best offensive team in
top
baseball?
5.
Top 5. Top 5, I would say that's really odd when you look at what they've been doing over the, as of late, going against the Orioles, the worst pitching staff in the league.
Everybody slumps, Steve.
Okay. All right. So a team that's slumping right now. Now you're getting a guy who's the cheapest he's been in God knows how long. I mean, the Blue Jays just had, 3 games against the Tigers and then 3 against the Orioles. 1 run scored, 3, 2, 7, 2, 5. But literally 2 of the worst pitching staffs in the league. And they were struggling to score over 3 runs. That's just what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
Now this is a guy who, a couple starts ago was over 10K. Now he's 7,700. I'm not saying he's like the savior of the slate tonight.
He never deserved to be over 10K, to be fair.
I don't deal with the pricing or the salaries. Like a lot of times I'm sitting here, I work for DraftKings and I'm like, guys, what's going on? What's this?
Look at that game
out?
log. You're hoping for 5 innings from him, I guess. I don't know. I have zero interest in Manaea. And I will gladly book any Manaea versus Luzardo prop bets that you want.
That's fine. Okay. All right. We're getting some questions about bats tonight. Let's get to the bats. All right. Couple questions already about the Houston Padres game.
Interesting.
In some world that I will never understand, the Padres, who are one of the fastest sinking ships in the league, sat at a round table and they said, guys, we need to figure something out. We're sinking fast. We need some help. And, some scouting dope, put his glasses on and they, started looking at his notes. I don't have a notepad available, but just pretend I got a notepad. And they go, yeah, Jake Arrieta's available. And the room said, well, give him a call. See what he says. And Jake Arrieta naturally was like, well, I need a job. So I'm going to say yes, because no one else is calling. The phone's not ringing. And Jake Arrieta is on the Padres. As you would expect, in typical Jake Arrieta style, he's been lit up every start that he's made with the Padres. Now he faces the Astros tonight, whose team total is only 4.5 runs. So we're just in this world of, tomfoolery where nothing makes sense. Take the over on the Astros, and it probably has to be one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Would you disagree?
The line movement scares me.
Well, tell us about the line movement.
They've gone from a 150 favorite to now they're a minus 130 favorite.
Okay.
Obviously nobody wants anything to do with the Padres.
Yep.
But the big bets are coming in on the Padres.
Right.
It's a very large dollars versus percentage discrepancy right now. So the Sharps clearly see something that makes them say the Padres are the correct side here. What they're seeing, I don't know. It's news to me. Right. But it does worry me a little bit. Yeah. Now, just because the Sharps like the Padres doesn't mean that the Astros can't light up Arrieta. Maybe this is an 11-10 type of game.
Right.
So I think that's fine. I look at this game, neither of these teams really stands out to me as a team that I'm actively targeting. But I do think that given what I'm seeing in the betting market, the Padres might be the correct side here, Steve, as crazy as that sounds.
It is crazy too, because you look at Arrieta's, advanced stats since the month of May, and I'm breaking this down by month, his FIP hasn't been lower than 6.01. May, June, July, August.
Very bad.
He's very bad. Home run per 9 inning, 1.8 or higher, 2.9, 3.1, 3.1. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. What am I missing? This is what I want to do. I need to figure out, if I had a boatload of money, where am I choosing to put my money? And you're backing Arrieta. What am I missing? Because I would say you and I, we pretty much understand the statistical game. We understand the line moves and stuff. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing to be on that side.
Steve, I've admitted in the past that I'm not that good, right? I don't pretend to be a sharp. I don't know what these guys are seeing, but they're seeing something. That's all I'm saying.
So if the Astros are not your favorite stack, what is your favorite stack tonight? Where are you leading? Who's gonna be cracking them for you?
Well, I mean, I do think you have to give the Braves some serious attention. Playing at Coors, they're implied for nearly 6 runs, highest on the slate by a pretty significant margin. They're expensive, but they do have some spots, right? I like d'Arnaud at 4,200. I think that's underpriced for Coors.
Yep.
Jorge Soler at 3,900 feels underpriced for Coors. So I don't know if I necessarily want to full on stack them.
Yep.
But I think that they stand out as the top offensive team. They're going to garner the most ownership, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put up 10 plus runs. I think my favorite stack, though, in general, when you consider price and ownership and all the stuff that we love to look at, probably the Angels.
What?
Taking on Mr. Otto for the Texas Rangers. Not sure who that is, but let's look at his numbers here. Glen Otto, he's made one start. He was pretty good, I suppose, but it's one start. I'm not afraid of him. He was the the number 37 prospect in the Rangers organization.
Yep.
But you look at this lineup, it is just super cheap. You know, Jared Walsh is the most expensive batter at 3,900. David Fletcher is like, the whole team is just super cheap. I don't even really need to go into it. So if you want to load them up, you can then go with your double stud pitcher.
Yep.
And you can then sprinkle in some Braves or whatever other expensive bats that you might want to fortify your lineup with. But like, we could be looking at Brandon Marsh on the positive side of his splits at 2,100.
Sure. Yep.
No,
that's not a bad call. And you know, and talking about those cheap stacks, like I naturally go and gravitate towards the Orioles when they're in this spot against the lefty. They're, you know, massive underdogs tonight, going against Nestor Cortez, who's been fine in the starting rotation, but this is a good team against lefties. Like we say this all the time. And I look at all, you know, the salaries here for the Orioles against lefties. I mean, after Mullins, you know, the most expensive guy on this team is $4K. They got guys hitting cleanup, you know, Mancini, 3,900. Urias at 3,000. Hayes, who just smashes lefties at 2,900, batting third. Just a lot of good bats here. If you want to kind of go cheap and you want to be off the radar, off the grid here, and get some of those studs into your lineup tonight. Orioles are a way to do it. Angels are a way to do it. I really like the Twins tonight too, going up against Michael Wacha.
I like the other side of that game.
And I was going to say, this is a potential game stack. Over under on this game is only at 9. That feels too low. Okay. Michael Wacha is coming off the worst month of of the season through the month of August. This guy was absolutely hammered in August, and not in the way you want to be. Like on the mound, he was hammered. Okay. In the month of August, he gave up 23 runs on 41 hits in 23 and a third innings. Like, just getting shelled. One of those teams that did a lot of that damage was the Twins. Tagged them for 7 runs on 11 hits in just 5 innings. All right. The Twins, for, you know, as bad as they've been this season, they still got a solid lineup 1 through 5. And I could even, you know, if you want to even stretch that to 6 with Miguel Sano batting 6th. Byron Buxton is struggling. This is the cheapest you're going to get him. Believe me, he's a 5K player. Take the discount while you can. Polanco can be decent in the right matchup. Donaldson, we know that he's got a power bat, 3,800, too cheap for him, and he's been hitting the ball well. Kepler, the lefty against Wacha, I'll take that. That's another cheap stack that I think could really do some damage tonight. And then Randy Dobnak, you know, the former Uber driver, can't strike anybody out.
You mean the future Uber driver too?
Yeah. Former and future. You know, keep that resume hot. Keep that resume updated. Okay. But Dobnak doesn't strike out guys. You know, I think he's got a 5.5K night on the season. Coming off the injured list, had some issue with a finger, 60-day IL for him. But neither of these guys should go deep into this game tonight. And that's what I also like about that. The Rays bullpen has been struggling. The Rays bullpen over the past week is tied for 5th in runs allowed. That's usually a really solid bullpen. It's a small sample, but that's a really good bullpen normally. So if they're hitting a patch right now, you definitely want to be targeting against them. So between Wacha, Dobnak, this is, I think, just an overall game stack.
Yep. I like that call.
So that's definitely something to take a look at there. You can definitely game stack this game too, by just, you know, plugging and playing here. You have to get a little creative probably with the outfield, but you can definitely get a couple of those guys in the infield from both sides if you wanted to do that. So I would definitely take a look at that. And if you're feeling a little frisky, over 9 runs is also on the table as well. Yeah, hey, it's Friday. It's almost a long weekend. You know, the feelings are coming out. So I would definitely look at that on the sportsbook side too as well. I would say maybe the Twins could be considered an off the wall stack as well, because I don't think that there's going to get 100%. Any attention. So I kind of showed my hand here with my off the wall.
I showed mine too.
I was going to say you kind of did Angels. Too. Yeah. So we'll just skip over that. One more I will throw out is the Mariners. My guys.
You freaking love them.
Why can't I? Why shouldn't I? I have massive odds on them to win the AL West, and it's Labor Day weekend, and they're 6.5 out. and they still got about 12 games left between the Astros and the Athletics. So very much.
All they got to do is run the table.
But it could happen. Could happen. Anywho, they're facing Madison Bumgarner. I mean, for as much as you like to make fun of the Mariners, they are top 10 in the league in runs scored against lefties, home runs, walks. That works for me. Against Madison Bumgarner, that's fine. I call him Mr. Roller Coaster because just when you think he's starting to get better, it comes crashing back down. And all the gravity's gone out of your body and you're screaming and shaking. That's what it's like watching.
They are bottom 5 in WRC plus against left-handers.
Listen, we can't be perfect in everything, okay? Not everything can be perfect, all right?
Okay,
I know that. I know that. But this is like my shtick for the season, so let me just run with it. Okay?
You're right. I'm sorry, Steve.
It's quite all right. But would you be interested in the Mariners tonight? I don't think there's no reason not to.
The reason not to be interested in the Mariners is that there are 27 other teams on this slate.
Wow, that's pretty harsh, actually.
I just think you're digging a little too deep here.
Against Madison Bumgarner, I'm digging deep.
It's a little too deep for me.
I mean, it is.
We're not, it's not like Madison Bumgarner is going to be throwing slow pitch softball, and this team doesn't hit lefties.
They do, though. According to some
your
metrics.
World, apparently.
Okay, but here's what it is. Maybe they don't hit for average. Maybe they're not consistently on base, but when they do make contact, it is out of here. It is out of the park. It's flying out of here. That's why they are the only team that's in the wild card contention with a negative run differential. That's exactly
right, baby.
Negative 52, I think it is.
Regression is for nerds.
Absolutely. All right, let's give some love over to the sportsbook side. We don't give enough love over to the sportsbook side.
Yeah,
so I feel like
I got a pretty big card tonight too.
Oh, real? Oh, this is great. Oh, by the way, breaking news: same game parlay now available on desktop. It was only available on mobile before. Now you can make those crazy same game parlays on your computer. So if you're at the office,
dial this one up for me.
Oh, okay, yeah. You didn't let me finish my promo, but go.
Miami Marlins money line.
Is this the same game parlay or is this just a parlay?
Same game.
Okay, so we got to get it up. All right.
Yeah, I'll give
Here
you.
it is.
It'll be a nice demonstration.
Slide this switch. Same game parlay. Activate. All right. Come on now. Listen, I was just saying how great the same game parlay is. Oh, for God's sakes. Let's try it again. Let's unplug it and plug it back in. Come on. Oh, now this is just flat out embarrassing. Okay, I'm going to do it on my phone because we're obviously having some technical difficulties after I just was saying nice things about this same game parlay. Can't even get it up on the damn screen. I'll do it on my phone. All right.
Okay.
So you let me know when you're ready. I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right.
Marlins money line.
All right. Got it.
Under 7.5 runs.
Oh, so alternate game total. Okay.
That's the regular total. That's the regular total right there.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My bad. Yep. Okay.
And over Luzardo strikeouts.
Oh, no. You had me. All right. We're going to go to Luzardo pitcher props. Luzardo. All right. So you got to pick a number when you do this.
Okay.
So you
over
can pick
6.5. All
right. So we'll do 6+. Matt LaMarca, that gives you plus 600 for a same game parlay. You had me until the Luzardo part, though. I'm not a big fan of that.
But this is the beauty of the same game parlay, right? If you think the Marlins can win and you think that the game will be lower scoring, then their odds are that Luzardo's pitching well. And if Luzardo's pitching well, he's getting strikeouts.
Okay.
So it's that correlated. That's why same game parlays are the best.
They really are,
but they're the best.
Yeah, you got to really watch it. I've already caught myself twice on this show because it's a long weekend and everything. So I agree. Okay, couple bets that I like tonight. I already mentioned the Phillies over 4.5 runs. Just seems absolutely silly. I know that LaMarca is on this one here. It's actually at 110 now, so an even better number. Phillies 4.5.
They're listening to me about Luzardo and his spectacles.
You are moving the line. You're moving the line. Okay, but I love Phillies over 4.5. I just think that it just feels silly. Just feels absolutely silly that it's at 4.5. That's one of my top plays tonight. I'm also on the Houston Astros team total, taking the over on that one as well.
Just take the game over. Be a man.
I don't know. Here's the because here's the problem.
Sorry.
Urquidy's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that Padres offense has been atrocious, absolutely atrocious for the better half of like 2 weeks now. So I did toy with that idea, but I was like, okay, I feel good about the Astros. I don't know how we feel about the Padres. So in that scenario, I'm just going to take the team total. That's where I would roll on that one. There's one play that I do like that you're not going to be a fan of, but I just think it's too high. In that Braves Rockies game, we're going to take the under first 5, which is at 6.
Okay.
I wouldn't be. The over at Coors Field has only hit about 43% of the time this season. That's low.
Yeah.
43% of the time. They don't just stink. They stink bad. They're real bad.
Odiferous.
But the Rockies are officially the worst team in the league at hitting the over, even with playing at Coors Field. It's absolutely amazing how bad they've been at hitting the over this season. So I look at that. Over 6 runs just feels like too much. You know, it's been great. Sensatella, regardless of what Matt LaMarca says, has been good at home. So that's just kind of where I'm rolling with that one there. I think under 6 runs is the play. I hate sweating unders at Coors Field, but for the most part, they've worked out pretty well all season long. As I mentioned, only hitting the over 43% of the time this season. I had to make sure that I was reading that correctly, but just the over at Coors Field has just not hit. Anything else you're kind of looking at while we wrap up here? We've got about 2 minutes left in the show. So anything you have? I hope it's not a same game parlay.
No. We're done with that.
All right.
You know me. I enjoy the underdogs. So
yes, you do.
I like
if you say Diamondbacks.
I like the Detroit Tigers tonight.
Started with the D.
Plus 155. Tyler Alexander, he's fine. He's not good. He's not bad. He's just whatever. He's a very perfectly average major league pitcher. But the Reds are the 3rd worst team in terms of WRC plus versus left-handers this season. And Detroit's kind of frisky. So I think that these odds are a little out of whack. So I like the Tigers. And I'm also jumping on the Dodgers. We're getting them at minus 115. They're probably going to start Knable. That says David Price there, but I think we're going to see the same thing with Knable starting, Price pitching the bulk of the innings. Anytime I can get the Dodgers at close to even money, I think you should do it. They're the best team in baseball.
And the Dodgers have actually overtaken the Giants in the NL West, which a month or so ago didn't seem like it was going to happen, but they have done it. The Giants are slipping at the wrong time right now. Thankfully for them, the Padres are just, they have 2 inches left.
Them winning that division would have been baseball's equivalent of Leicester City winning the Premier League.
Yeah. It's true, though. It's true, especially when you look at the odds that they were at the beginning of the season. I forget what they were, but as you met, they were massive because it was the Dodgers division to lose, followed closely behind by the Padres. But you're 100% right. Okay, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Slate. Let's let you know what's coming up for the rest of your Friday. Next Madden simulation coming up at 6:00. Washington football team at the Seattle Seahawks. American Ultimate Disc League playoffs coming up after that. And then to round out your night, get you kicked off into Labor Day weekend, Browns at Texans. That will be at 10:00. So for everybody on the show, from Matt LaMarca, for myself, good luck with your bets, good luck with your lineups, and we will see you with Gary and Thorne for the next edition of the Slate MLB on Tuesday. Catch you then.